Hello, everybody. This is Owen McCafferty. I'm bringing this idea and thoughts to you in very short little vignettes, thanks to the graciousness of Professional Fusion. Again, sorry for my voice. Some days it's great, other days I sound like Barry White. So I'd like to present an idea to you, and this relates to a question. Let's look at your practice. Would you want to work there? And secondly, do you think that others would want to work there? Now, this is not an original thought. I had this inspiration from dealing with a very close friend who's also a doctor of dental surgery. And he's got a really classy office space that he put up from scratch not that long ago, and is in great shape in my personal opinion. But I don't think it is at the standard that he wishes his practice to be. So after putting up a palatial home, he's now in the process of planning for a major renovation of the practice. And what's motivating him is not whether he would want to practice at that location, because he obviously would. Puts in great hours. He's even more senior than I am. But he worries about what would the practice be to attract other employees, and then how could he make his practice nicer and more attractive and more comfortable for his patients. And I thought that was a rather insightful question to pose. So I'd like that to be maybe a topic area for the next few minutes. It's going to be more than just facilities, though. There's a question of culture. And how does facilities affect culture? Well, it does. Other things that I jotted down. What about the work ethic? Does your practice require a work ethic that is really good based on your view, but may not necessarily be in accord with the talent of the time? Then on the other side, is the work ethic of your practice adequate enough for your patient base? Maybe they want you to work harder than you actually do. Maybe they want more availability of time. They want better access of doctors. They want better availability. If you do boarding in veterinary medicine, they want to have longer hours of boarding. If you're in dentistry, they want to have more hygienic hours available. If you're in dermatology, they want you to be open longer, both in the morning and the evening, because of convenience issues. And they want to have access to certain doctors, regardless of whether you have tried to create a mythos about your practice. There are doctors in that practice, and they are celebrities. And patients want to have access to those doctors. So the question, do you want to work in your practice? Of course. Do you want your associates and your support staff, do they want to work in the practice? Well, let's hope they do. And what about your patients? These patients are not titled to you. And if they see another shiny new object in a bigger building, in a better building, maybe with the same doctors, but it's interpreted the facilities will determine the competency of the doctor, you might be losing out. Now, you won't know based on the volume that we have most recently, but when we get into the stagflation that I had referenced before, will you see a reduction in patient base based on all of the factors that I had recited? What about continuing professional education? Do you want to attract people to your practice as associates who value CPE? If they do, then and you have a long-standing program, that's great. But if you're rather stingy with your continuing education and you hope to attract the finest and the best doctors. That's a non sequitur, and that just won't work. Excuse me. And what about the attitude of the practice? When you walk into a practice, you can feel something. I mean, as a stranger, I can feel something. The people at the front desk, how are they? What does the waiting room look like? Is it clean? Is it disorderly? Are the people at the front desk happy to see me? Or is this another chore, one of those additional patients that I have to deal with? Or is it getting close to quitting time? And have your doctors instructed the people at the front desk to turn away any new patient because they've got something important? They've got a rock climbing meeting that night. So they don't want to be late for that. So all of these things are factors that attract your practice. So do you want to work there? Do you think your associates want to work there? And do you think your patients want you to be in that facility? Now, I will grant you there's opposing viewpoints. The associates and the support staff may want you to be in a different direction than what the patients do. Then you got to balance it. But I think it's important for you to set up value systems in your practice and decide, because it's going to take some time. A renovation for your practice is not an easy thing. It's going to require financing, zoning possibly for expanding space, planning, negotiations and contracts with contractors, negotiations with bankers because you may need to borrow money, and that's going to take some time. Changing the culture could be done through the help of a consultant. I can think of one great dental consultant that really has a different vision on what's important and is invaluable in that perspective. So bringing someone in to assist you, maybe with a different perspective, maybe valuing things differently than you, is certainly a good idea, because keep in mind, you do not have to follow. A consultant is from the Latin word consulare, which means to confer, not to obey. So those are all things to at least bring to mind, just to think about. I went a little bit longer in this one than I originally had intended, but there's so much information that could be discussed. The purpose of these short little webcasts are to let you start thinking, and hopefully I did. So I'd like to say this is Owen McCafferty. I really do appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a bit.